my stars. See you tomorrow.
Just a quick note. I am not going to do the origami. You don't even know what that means. I started a project with origami flowers. Came in a kit. I need a cameraman just to operate the camera in the right direction, because I get to be where I'm concentrating on what I'm doing, and the camera's pointing up here at a face that's not showing you anything. So, words to the wise or to the excuse, Glenda needs a cameraman. And since I don't have one, I won't be doing that online. I'll probably just show the finished product. Ay. When I get to stringing beads, maybe then. Okay, this is AKA GK Fralin, and you can call me Glenda. I got a reminder on my remark. Glenda Wilson was the one who likes to hear me say, well, anyway. And I do say it a lot. As far as this paper folding, yikes! I would choose to do that, and I would choose to pull my hair when I've been battling a headache. But anyway, for you, I'm going to try and keep to 3 topics as far as the timeline is concerned with the COPD. And okay, first off, I want to say a lot of people don't get diagnosed with early onset COPD. Excuse me. I've heard it said, and I believe most people are diagnosed when they're getting closer to being on a stage where they're on oxygen, or at least on an inhaler. And the reason for that being, you just don't want to believe it. You attribute it to other things. Weight gain, in my case, and doctor's mind. Your doctor has taken care of a lot of COPD patients, I'm sure. But their mind doesn't automatically go there when you're a fairly young person. I think I was 50. Anyway, they check out to see if it's bronchitis, which I tended to have a lot. Anyway, this is where we're at. We are into the end of 2005, and now we're going into the beginning of 2006. And so we know I don't have cancer, thank goodness. The enlarged thing in my lung is very likely a very large lymph node, because the limbic system is what takes the white blood cells throughout the body to fight an infection, and we believe it came from an infection in my sinus. That's where I'm at, and some others with me. Okay. We're going to talk about medications, oxygen, pulmonary rehab, and with those, we're going to discuss the need to keep all your different disciplines, including your pharmacist, informed and involved. I know I emphasize that strongly, but there's a good reason for it. Some drugs can react with other drugs. Not unusual for someone with COPD to be put on temporary high doses of steroids and step down because of, an exacerbation of symptoms. Speeding up, symptoms get really worse, like with the pneumonia or the bronchitis or something. So what they do is they'll put you on a really big dose and then step you down. Usually With me, it'd be 40 milligrams, and then 30, then 20, and then 10. And that's over a few weeks. Okay, I'm bipolar. And I have a tendency, I have problems with stress is what really gets me going. And if I get depressed, I can tend to get argumentative, irritable. Okay. Steroids can tend to add to that. So I need to be more careful. And I also need to make sure my doctor and all my doctors and stuff understand. Not because they're really going to change anything, but because they need to know. But if it's something where, let's say, for instance, that I am a person who could become suicidal, definitely they're going to be very careful with me. Okay. Now, so we've got our pulmonologist, our family practitioner, our pharmacist. There for a while, I did have an oncologist because in 2008, 2008, I had small breast cancer, and so they had to remove they did a partial mastectomy, and then I was on a medication for 5 years from there that my oncologist kept me on because it would keep and talking about something that really makes you irritable. Ugh. Anyway, and it also makes you hurt. It makes you hurt. Anyway, so all this stuff needs to be. You need to keep everything compiled in a medication list and keep it up to date. My husband is so good about that. And, well, he kind of took things over when I got super sick at one time, and he started taking over some of that. And he's he's one that he's one of those that, in his mind, he knows he can do it right. So he'll do it. He's not so sure I can do it right. He knows he can. I love to tease him about that, but he knows it's true. Anyway, it's all so comes in handy, though, when it comes to fixing things around the house. All right, I started out with Advair, which is an inhalant. A lot of people call it the purple disc. And I started out on or 2550 or 10, I don't know, 25. Anyway, the dosage doesn't matter. Okay, I had inhalers. We'll just put that in with, I had inhalers. I had something for asthma and allergies. In my case, it was Singular. I had my puffer. I had later he added Spiriva. Now everything's changed, but let's not go there yet. Okay, so those I had to keep on a very, on a regimen. Later, I was placed on to a nebulizer. And I still do use a nebulizer. I don't use it I don't have to have it as often as I used to, but I still do use it every day. And for those of you who don't know, a nebulizer is it takes like an albuterol solution and it makes it into a mist that you can inhale, and then that helps to express things from the lungs. Keeps it from getting too thick. Anyway, oxygen therapy. Your doctor will prescribe, or whoever in your family or your friend or whatever the doctor will prescribe how many liters of oxygen are needed. And this is another place where you need to keep in touch with the doctor, because if it becomes apparent that it's not enough to, have an optimal level of living, or whatever that is for you, that you and your doctor need to be able to work together on if you need to increase that dosage. I didn't have it at first. About February 2006, I started pulmonary rehab, and this is the other part I want to discuss. Started pulmonary rehab, and they wanted to make sure that I had oxygen on board, that I was taking in plenty of oxygen. So I was supposed to put it on about 2 liters, 1.5 to 2 liters, for at least an hour before my pulmonary rehab, and not eat more than 2 hours before exercise or my pulmonary rehab. Okay, so I went through this. I think the insurance allotted me, I don't remember, something like 20 hours. So I went 2 days one week, 3 days the next, until I had filled up the number of sessions or whatever that they allowed. And you exercise, but they also they train you about pursed lip breathing. I've shown that before on here. They train you in breathing techniques. You get exercise. They help you keep an exercise diary, which I'm not good at anymore. But back then, I was still getting around, driving and all that. But foods, nutrition. You work on nutrition. All of these different things come into play. In other words, this is what I meant last night when I talked about regearing your life. You can't expect to do something like this. It's like any major change, well, not any, but it is a major change in your life. And you need to accept that, or you're going to be very miserable. I let myself be miserable for a while. It wasn't worth it, because it wasn't changing anything. So we had better quit here because it's almost 12 minutes in, and I don't want to go overtime. I'd like to add that little bit about the paper folding, because it's kind of bizarre with me trying to do that. But we'll stop here. I feel like I'm getting into a very long series on this. If that is a problem for you, I am sorry. I hope you'll stick with me. This isn't something that you can take care of in a day. COPDfoundation.org. Go there. American Lung Association. Go there. Find them online. I will catch you tomorrow. Mañana.